Let's move on.
Let's move on.
To The Dark Knight Rises 2012.
Which I love.
Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't too high on this movie,
Yeah.
of the trilogy.
And I understand people's qualms with it. There are questionable parts to the movie, but I just think this movie is a great conclusion to the trilogy. And I was extremely satisfied when it was over.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, if I had to rank the 3 Batman movies of Chris Nolan's universe, which is the best and the worst, this is number 3 for me. But that's not saying it's a bad movie.
Yeah,
I love this movie. I remember when the trailer came out for this movie, and we watched it like 10 times in a row, and it was just blew me away, like Bane with like blowing up the Steelers stadium.
Yeah.
And just like, it looks so good.
Amazing.
And Tom Hardy's Bane is absolutely terrifying, and he did a phenomenal job bringing this character that we knew about, had seen pretty weird renditions of him on film
and on cartoons,
and then brought him into a realistic world, and he became an iconic performance like Heath Ledger's Joker. If not in like excellence of acting, he did a great job.
Big shoes to fill, but he did a great job.
In terms of like notoriety of the role, it's very popular and people love it.
His voice is great. His physicality is great. Tom Hardy, I think, is 5 inches shorter than Christian Bale, but they made him look huge.
Yeah.
And also, I absolutely love the design of the mask. I think one of the reasons why it works so well was that mask is just frightening looking and interesting looking, and it has a practical effect for him to keep the medicine entering his nose and mouth so he can breathe it in. But it was just an iconic image, that mask of Bane, because in the old cartoon shows and the movie, it was just like a Mexican wrestler mask.
But like also like with tubes and stuff. Like it was cool. He never involved with, you see him injecting anything, no tubes or nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just always wearing the mask.
And it was like he had such a great introduction with that plane sequence, and when his mask is when the head cover is finally pulled off and you see Bane for the first time, and oh my, it was terrifying.
You look like a big guy for you.
And I know they overdubbed his voice after the initial reactions to the trailers in the opening scene, but I actually prefer it with Tom Hardy's actual on-set dialogue.
Yeah, I loved it. I remember we saw the trailer and IMAX, and we were like, this is amazing.
It's
it's kind of hard to hear, but like it's part of the character.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm bummed that they had to re-record the audio for it.
Yeah, I think it would have worked just as well. But I think he was a great villain, and it was great to see Batman. We talked about the fight in a previous podcast, but just to see him get physically dominated by another character we've never seen before on screen.
Yeah. And we're introduced to Catwoman by Anne Hathaway, who did an awesome job bringing an iconic character to screen.
So good as Catwoman.
She's her own take. Michelle Pfeiffer did a great job, but this is like a new version of Catwoman, which we loved. And I mean, Halle Berry did a great job too. Mm-hmm. But I loved Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah,
and she's very charismatic and
very sultry
perfect for the role.
Yeah. She can handle herself. I thought it was a great rendition of the character.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun back and forth between Batman and her.
Especially the first scene when she steals the pearls.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell? And then she jumps out the window.
Yeah. If I had qualms with this movie, it's really kind of just that like Batman gave up on everything when his nuclear plan didn't work, and he kind of is just hiding. I mean, I know it's an effective way to tell the story and bring the character back, but I just wasn't a huge fan of it. Not that I don't hate it, not that I hate it or anything. It's just like if I had to change one thing, I would have done it a little differently rather than Bruce Wayne hiding out from everybody in his mansion.
I understand your opinion, but I loved it. And they turned him into this Howard Hughes type figure. A recluse.
Nolan ended up getting to make
his Aviator movie. But I really liked that part of the character. I thought it was very unexpected. And it showed the physical and emotional toll that being Batman has had on him. Mm-hmm. And he only becomes Batman again because he has to. You know what I mean?
Because as you learn in this movie, and again, spoiler alerts. So Batman, and Nolan hints at this in Dark Knight, Batman's not supposed to be a permanent solution to Gotham's problems.
Yeah.
He's a temporary solution, a temporary fix, which he hopes to pass the mantle on somehow.
Yeah.
So Batman's just a symbol for the good and a beacon of hope for
hints
Gotham
at it,
City.
He says it in Batman Begins.
Yeah, in Dark Knight they reiterate it where he's at dinner with Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
And so Batman obviously sacrifices himself in this movie. So Batman dies, but Bruce Wayne doesn't die.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne survives.
Yeah.
But he kills Batman symbolically to act as a beacon of hope and, again, a symbol for Gotham City.
Yeah.
So, again, Batman was never meant to be a permanent solution.
Yeah.
And to put Batman, break his back, and to put him in the same prison that Talia and Bane were trapped in really proves how great of a person and symbol that Bruce Wayne is to Gotham and to the world, where he is able to escape from this bottomless pit in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite set pieces in the trilogy. They really built that giant set, and it looks incredible. And those scenes in the prison where he's trying to get back to strength, then the inmates chant that Deshi Deshi Basara Basara, and him trying to climb up the wall. Great sequence, and it was a metaphor for him. He lost what made him Batman, which is why he failed when he fought Bane. And so in the prison, he gains that will back, and that's why he's able to escape, and that's why he's able to take down Bane at the end. So his character arc is great in this movie. It's probably the biggest character arc since the Batman Begins, and it's a great ending to the character.
Marion Cotillard as Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
So good in this movie. She's an awesome villain because every time I see her pop up in a Nolan movie, I'm like, she's
a
gonna
bad
be a
guy.
bad guy.
She's a bad guy.
Because, she's Maul in Inception, and she's really a bad guy in that film, even though her character isn't really an evil person.
He used Talia as a way to connect it to the first film, Batman Begins, with the League of Shadows. So it all tied together to Ra's al Ghul's original plan in the first Batman.
And then we got a familiar face here. We got Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes into the universe, and he plays a cop. And
James Blake.
Yeah, James Blake, the cop James Blake from the comics. And he eventually figures out who Batman is.
Yeah.
Low-key, I guess.
Because he's an orphan, too.
The only person in Gotham who figured it out. Yeah, because they're orphans. Like, man, I'm an orphan.
I saw the look in your eyes.
I saw that look.
I'll say that's a questionable part of the movie.
Yeah, so that's kind of but it's essential, and then it's kind of like a partner for Batman. Sort of, he kind of plays like a Robin-esque role in this film.
Yeah.
James Blake, and he helps Batman out,
and eventually the ending of the movie, which is a great shot where he ends up in the Batcave and entering it, and then he gets the platform rises,
and then Hans Zimmer scores.
Goosebumps. It was great.
Yeah, I love how everyone's like, "Oh my God, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's the new Batman. They're gonna do Nightwing or whatever." It's like, dude, he just ended the movie.
Yeah, he's not making another one.
There doesn't have to be a sequel to every goddamn movie out there. It's
exactly.
okay to just end it.
Where's the post-credit scene?
I love how he ends it like that. Again, ambiguous ending. You get to create it.
Yeah.
Did he become Batman? Did he just go home and like jerk off? Like, I don't want this responsibility, Bruce. Can I just have the Lamborghini? That's fine with me. But is he gonna be Nightwing? Oh, it's fine. It's over. It's over. It's done. Chris Nolan wiped his hands of Batman.
Yeah.
And he did a phenomenal job with the trilogy. It's one of the best trilogies of all time.
Absolutely.
It's up there.
And then I just want to touch on Michael Caine really steals every scene he's in this movie. And it gets to that emotional scene where he abandons Bruce Wayne because he doesn't want him to continue his quest for Batman because he knows it's going to lead to his death. And then he leaves Bruce Wayne. And then watching Alfred cry at the cemetery, looking at his tombstone, I was weeping.
Oh, I cried during this movie, for sure.
And then a lot of people have problems with it, and a lot of people think it's a dream, which I think is stupid. You're thinking too much about Inception. But when Alfred goes to Italy to that cafe and he sees Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, and they just give each other that nod, I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne survived.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne saved Gotham City by creating Batman, then killing Batman.
Yeah. But I love Rises. I think it's a fantastic movie and a great ending to the trilogy.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's the man.
Yeah.
Again, Chris Nolan just loves to cover his face, though.